Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 14th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. We got the state of Washington right here. There's our system that rolled through yesterday, and we're going to continue this unsettled weather with another trough dropping down across the area today. We'll go over those details, and we'll go over the next trough that's going to shoot down and reinforce that one as we go through the upcoming week. And then we'll take a look at the extended forecast. How much ridging are we going to get after these systems move through, and what's in store after that? We'll dive into those details as we go through the video this morning. Let's scroll all the way back towards yesterday, and you can see that frontal system moving in towards Vancouver Island, the Washington coast. And as we went through yesterday evening, we actually had a few lightning strikes that I saw show up across some of the Washington coast. You see some of this moderate precipitation at times, kind of quickly moving through the area. And we even brought a bit of rainfall to places east of the Cascades as well. So thumbs up for that. And then you can see where we are now as we go on in through this morning, the visible satellite imagery. But looking at Seattle, 64 yesterday, that's 9 degrees below average for this time of year, 400ths of an inch of rain, 0.28 so far this year. You can see how we have been below average here for the last few days, and we're going to remain so for the next several days before we potentially warm back up again above average here for a bit. And I'll show you that here in a moment. Taking a look at today, there is a chance for a thunderstorm threat across the convergence zone for some of the central Puget Sound here. So I'll show you that here in a moment, and then you can kind of see it clipping northeast Washington. Not too big of a deal today. Tomorrow, better chance east of the Cascades, and that might even include Medford, Oregon, Boise, Butte, Montana. And this system overall, is this upper level low is going to be spinning across the region here Monday through Wednesday. This is going to bring some much needed precipitation to western Montana, Idaho, over these fire perimeters out there, and some raw conditions, especially across 8,000 feet backcountry there, even some snow for the higher terrain. And looking at Spokane, you can see that slight chance of a thunderstorm, mainly across the northern mountains there, and there's Sunday's temperatures there. Always good stuff from the National Weather Service Spokane. So taking a look at what's going on, this is the trough that's going to be with us as we go through the day today, and this is going to help kick off that thunderstorm activity here across some of the central Puget Sound, because that trough dropping all the way down across the southwest USA. And then we've got the next reinforcement here arriving as we go on through Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we go off into the future a bit more, and you can see the ridging starting to build off the coastline here for next weekend. More on that here in a moment, but I want to show you what's coming up today. You can see as we go through the day today, we start to get to the afternoon hours, you can see a bit of a westerly surge moving down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, down the Strait of Georgia, and the Chehalis Gap. That's bound to create some convergence zone activity here across western Washington, and that could kick off a lightning strike. Again, should not be too big of a deal, but you can see we got some gusty westerly winds rolling down the east slopes of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon also. So taking a look at the precipitation map, then we scroll on in through the North American model. This is what the Doppler radar may look like over the next 60 hours or so. We scroll through today, and you can see we've got some of that precipitation across some of the central sound. It could, again, thunderstorm activity not out of the question with that. And then we scroll on in through tonight and in through tomorrow. You can see some of this activity tomorrow, Sunday, probably a better chance for the thunderstorm activity with these storms out there, no doubt, as we go through Sunday afternoon. And you can see that riding up across eastern Oregon, very beneficial rainfall associated with this, up across Idaho as well. And as we go on into the day Monday, you can see another round of precipitation spreading up across Idaho and Montana here, maybe even wrapping around back into Oregon. But yeah, these would be prolific lightning producers there as we go through the day Monday also. So we'll replay that again tomorrow. Taking a look at the lightning flash density potential, you can see the HRRR is calling attention to some of that here, just off to the east of Everett maybe, or maybe moving across the Everett region just north of Seattle as we go through this afternoon. And then we scroll on in towards tomorrow, and you'll see some of this activity east of the Cascades there as we go through Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. Now, taking a wider view of things here, this is basically North America we're looking at here, and you can see Alaska, there's Washington State here. There is our troughing that's going to be with us. Actually, let me back up here because the 12Z is now starting to load, but we want to look at more data than that. So let's look at the 06Z, last night's run on the GFS. There's our system. The troughing is going to be hanging with us, and you can see that dropping down across the west coast, and then we get a reinforcing shot here as we go through midweek, and then we try to build that ridge here for a time. You can see that all the way up in towards southeast Alaska as we go on into the 19th, 20th here coming up. How strong will that ridge be? How long will it last? Those are good questions here, and it doesn't look like it will last that long. You can see some of the models are now showing a stronger Gulf of Alaska low, bringing a powerful jet stream somewhere into western BC, so that would not allow us to warm up too much. But again, we're going to be on the cusp here, and we got to watch because it's that transition time of the year where these ridges and these troughs never seem to be far off. But yeah, it can bring some warmth near the end of September. We'll see how that goes, and I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But the European total precipitation in inches as we go on in through the day today, you can see again adding some of the precipitation amounts, maybe getting western Oregon a bit here, and then thunderstorm activity over the next couple of days east of the mountains, and then that secondary reinforcing shot does bring additional rounds of precipitation with it as well. So very beneficial precipitation across the region, especially eastern Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, and the Oregon Cascades, I should mention. So looking at vertically integrated smoke, we have done a pretty good job of putting out some of these fires, or at least Mother Nature has. And then you can see we are still getting some flare-ups showing up in some of the models here as we go through this afternoon. And then we scroll on in through Sunday. Does it flare up again? A little bit here, but hopefully this precipitation is going to be helping with this complex of fires across into the east slopes of the Cascades of Oregon. Now, taking a look at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, this is this weekend, next weekend coming up. And you can see that would be where that ridging is, maybe giving us a nice weekend here before we head off into the end of September. Again, flip a coin on what's going to happen after that, but you can kind of see how we're going through the troughing and a secondary shot here as well. So, yeah, transition season. You can clearly see it, the roller coaster ride on the GFS 16-day outlook. This is for Portland as well. Looks like we might get some warmth with that ridge, but again, we'll be watching. You can still see we got a few days to go before we get there. And now taking a look at the European, this is last night's run here on the left, and look at the yesterday afternoons here on the right. And I'm going to show you something and how quickly things can change in these weather model runs. So we're going to scroll on in through here, and we're going to scroll towards next weekend as we start to get a bit of a warm up. Both models in agreement with that. But you can see yesterday afternoons again is on the right, and you can see how last night's run kind of changing up how long this ridge wants to hang out. It starts to bring some below normal conditions here. Again, that powerful jet stream showing up a bit more persistently and further south in the recent model run. So we're watching that one there. You can see backing off on the extent of the heat as we go through the end of September coming up. Now, if we take a look at that correlation to 500 millibar heights, you can see this is the initial system today. And then we get the reinforcing shot here as we go through midweek. Then the ridge tries to build here for a bit as we go on in through a portion here, 20, 21, 22 September, and then you can see which would be a very powerful jet stream here in a deep trough, across a lot of Alaska and western British Columbia, Yukon Northwest Territories, bringing additional systems potentially into the west coast of North America here, and then kind of keeps the troughing going towards the end of September. So that would be big changes from what the models have been saying. And I want to point this out that I like to show you the jet stream as well, since I did talk about it. There goes the shot of the troughing that we're dealing with today, and then the reinforcing shot is right here. And then you can see as we go off in the extended forecast, there's the ridging right there that we've been talking about, and then the potential for some wetter weather maybe off in the future. But again, we're looking so far out that you have to take that with a grain of salt. I just like to kind of show you what's going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere and what the models are showing, obviously, if you haven't noticed. So 6 to 10 day precipitation, kind of a mixed bag here. We're not going to put too much into account to that yet. Here's that below average signal for some of the west as well. 8 to 14 day, they're kind of showing that ridging now. It's starting to show up. As I mentioned yesterday, if I had to guess what they were going to be showing was this, and indeed they're doing that. But again, there's still a lot of question of what's going to be coming during that time frame, September 21st through 27th. So anyway, yeah, get out there and enjoy that weather here. It's going to be below average, so the Mossbacks are loving this. And yeah, so we've got some unsettled weather all the way on in through the mid portion of next week, then a bit of a warm up here, and then we'll continue to watch the extended forecast as we break these down day by day. So anyway, hope you guys are liking the channel. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.